Oh boy. Oh, just a unbelievable finish. Unbelievable. Storms in and each one solid gets taken out in 5 seconds. Taken out in 5 seconds. Strategy.
He doesn't even know what country he's in right now.
Oh, what a highlight.
Loud enough as I'm yelling into a microphone from Club Insanity. It's kind of, which will work. Kessiman's defending the wrong arm.
Very, very, very impressive third win for Javier Trujillo. Well done, Honey Badger.
All right, what's going on YouTube? Sakan here. I'm here with a special guest, Javier Trujillo, aka the Honey Badger. He's a professional mixed martial artist with a record of 6-1, fighting out of formerly Bangkok Fight Lab and formerly Team Quest Thailand. Where are you at now?
I'm currently in the UK, man. I was just trying to check out the MMA scene here. I obviously did the Bare Knuckle Boxing here in the beginning of June.
Nice.
And then just kind of waiting, and then the apocalypse happened, dude. So
apocalypse happened.
So
So yeah, I want to give you a little more background about Javi. He's the 16th ranked welterweight in Southeast Asia. Also, he holds the fastest KO in MMA history, which is like 5 seconds. It was ridiculous. I'll put up the clip just right here. He's also a former firefighter. Mad respect. His fighting styles include wrestling, BJJ, 10th Planet style, Muay Thai, and boxing. And just like you said, you recently had a stint in bare knuckle boxing. Seems like the sky's the limit for you, man. What do you?
Oh, thanks.
What do you plan on doing next? More bare knuckle, like Lethway or something like that?
I would like to try Lethway, for sure. I think I would have a better shot with that just because of all the years of training Muay Thai in Thailand. Boxing was fun, though. I really wanted to test my mettle with that. Came up short. You know, I fought for the super middleweight championship. Lost due to cuts, but,
Sure.
you know, it was a good show. Everybody was happy with it. I'm invited back.
Oh, nuts.
But yeah, but the competitiveness, yeah, I do want to give it one more shot because I did see some other guys on there, and I was like, you know, I bet I could beat that guy. I could beat that guy, you know. So just definitely want to. I would like to do it one more time for sure.
Sure. How much different was it to prepare for a bare knuckle than for an MMA fight?
Well, you know, it was the first time I think since like I was an amateur where I had to just focus on one discipline. You know, it's like every time when I was getting ready for MMA fights, it's like you got to break off. You got to have one day for wrestling, one day for boxing, one day for Muay Thai, one day for Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
And with this, it's like, okay, we're just going to focus on one thing. And I just hadn't done that in a long, long time. But preparing for it, I didn't, dude, honestly, man, I didn't really know how to prepare for it. I was like kind of
Who
nervous.
does?
How do you? Yeah. I mean, the sport is still relatively new.
Right.
Not a lot of guys in the game. So immediately I went and looked around, and I found one guy here in Birmingham who's been doing the bare knuckle boxing named James Connolly, and him and his brother are basically kind of like headwaying the whole training aspect of it. You know, everybody that's in the BKB league usually comes down to his gym at some point to go train. So I went to go those guys just to see what was it about, and they told me basically straight up, it's just basics, man. It's just basics.
Yeah.
A lot of foot, a lot of feinting, you know, and you just want to be able to get him to commit, and then you can throw.
But it's weird. I saw some of your training highlights, and like pretty much all the time you were wearing boxing gloves. Yeah,
I mean, well, when I was going and training pads with people, I would.
Right.
But then I just did a bunch of research, man. I like looked up Dave Leduc and all the Lethway guys and seeing how they were prepping, and I was like, the two fears I was afraid of was getting cut really bad and then breaking my hands.
Sure.
So I was just prepping my hands, dude, just doing push-ups on your knuckles there, and then after every session, I would just take off the gloves and the wraps, and I would just work on the heavy bag with just my hands. But one major adjustment that I did get from the guys that like I kind of always keep in my head is you always want to be able, when you're throwing, to be able to see your hands in front of you the whole time. Okay. So if you look back and you wind up, then you're going to bust your hand.
Nice.
So as long as you can keep them in front of you where you can see them, you're not more than likely not going to break your hand, you know, unless you're hitting him on the top of his head.
Right. Or the hip.
Or the hip, yeah.
Yeah. So your lifestyle, it's like this pretty crazy thing. Like you're from California, like me originally, right? I don't know. You seem to be like this like mythical roaming Mexican American Ronin figure, you know, like going around like fighting these Street Fighter tournaments, that kind of stuff. So, how did you come about this lifestyle, and what inspired you to do it?
Man, like I think first and foremost, it was just like it's a kind of a saying I like to say is like I like travel in the world. I've always wanted to travel since I was a kid, and just fight its people, man. You know, I think there's no better way of getting to know a culture than just fighting, man. I mean, there's like, I could go and have a conversation with somebody for 2 hours, and I probably won't learn anything about that person, but I could go spar with them for 10 minutes, and I'll know everything about that guy, you know?
Right.
You know, how people react, how they're gonna...
Yeah.
And just with that, like, that kind of was what motivated me, was like looking at some of these guys, like Mitsu Maeda, who's like one of the original founders of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. When I just love martial arts history, so following basically his career, he just took Jiu-Jitsu and traveled all over the world, trying it on everybody. You know, he went through Europe, he went through America, he went through South America. And when he finally settled in Brazil, where he met the Gracies, and then they carried on the lineage. But something about Maeda's life was like, yeah, man, that's what I want to do. I want to learn my art, travel around, pick up what, you know, like, I mean, you could come from a JKD background, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, the same thing like Bruce Lee always said, is just like, you know, I want to travel somewhere, pick something up, which I find is going to be useful to me, discard what's useless, and then just keep going, man. And then by the end of my journey, you know, I really do I do find myself just being a coach and a teacher, and I just want to be able to give what it is that I've learned through my travels, you know? Just like the Wandering Ronin, you know?
Yeah. I think we hit the nail on the head. A little bit of background. I was fortunate enough to be a student under Coach Javi for a month, studying some private lessons in MMA. He helped prep me for my most recent MMA fight, which didn't go too well, but really studying with you really changed my perspective on MMA, especially the mental game. So you put a lot of emphasis on how to prep yourself mentally. So what do you do to help you get mentally prepared for a fight?
A lot of visualization. I guess where that came from when in my early 20s, I read a book which I recommend everybody to read. It's called 10 Minutes for Toughness.
Nice.
And in that book, they explain that one of the most important things for martial artists or any athlete is that you always hear that term, it's 90% mental and then 10% physical.
You don't really understand it until you live it, right?
Exactly, you know, and the biggest thing that I notice with people who don't mentally prepare is that they freeze up in the middle of the fight.
Sure.
Like they get this deer in their headlights, and then they just their coordination's off, everything happens, you know, and then it starts to peter down from there. So in this book, what they say is like when you visualize a fight, you gotta when you visualize, you gotta see it as it's gonna be seen, you gotta feel as it's gonna feel, and you gotta all the surroundings, you gotta build this up in your head. So it's like you almost take a moment to yourself, you like kind of meditate on it,
right.
Visualize it all the way through. And for every moment you visualize, they say in this book, it is the equivalent of training physically for 7 minutes.
Wow.
And that's extremely powerful if you can learn how to manage that and dedicate some time every day. If anybody's out here like an aspiring martial artist, if you can apply that, man, by the time you get to the show, your body and your mind are already going to feel like it's already been there. So it's going to be comfortable for you. It's going to be like going home.
Right.
I always explain every time I enter into the cage, I'm like, this is my home, dude. For the last 6-8 weeks that I've been preparing for this fight, I've been mentally thinking about it every day.
Yeah.
This is where I want to be, man. There's nowhere else I'd rather be.
It's not a comfortable place for people to want to go, you know, because for me, I'd be thinking and meditating on it, and like, what is this guy going to do to me, and what am I going to have to do to him first? And like, you know, I consider myself like a nice guy, and I don't think violence upon people, and I find myself, you know, meditating upon violence, which is a difficult thing for me to do, but it seemed quite necessary and actually beneficial in the long run.
Well, yeah, man, absolutely. Because like, especially for us, the game we're playing is high stakes. You know, I mean, yeah, we got gloves, we got cutmen, we got this and that, but at the end of the day, what we're doing is extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, you're meditating on violence. I mean, that's the way of a martial artist. That's the way of the samurai. You know,
Nice.
that's what Mitsu Maeda and also Musashi Miyamoto, they said that this is the most important thing you have to do every day. Meditate on getting beat up, beating somebody. You know, you gotta visualize this and make what's one of the most uncomfortable aspects of a human being, which is violence, and make that comfortable for you. You know.
That's deep, man. That's deep. So I think we pretty much almost touched on it, but I want to ask you again, like, what do you think is the best advice you can give someone new to the sport?
New to the sport,
yeah,
would be the best advice. I would say the first thing that you got to do is probably find a proper instructor, you know. And once you find somebody, and now these days, like, I think it's even easier, because look, they can find us on YouTube if they don't have somebody near them or this or that. Mm-hmm. But finding a mentor that had lived the fight career or the martial arts life that you want to live, and you go to them first, you know. I think that's one of the most important things at the beginning, and then as you get old, as you progress, then, you know, you can start to go on your own. But at first, you really need like somebody to kind of take care of you and mold you and show you the basics, and that too. I guess, yeah, it would be finding somebody, and then I would say, I just call this the term, I always tell it to my students: drillers are killers. Once they start teaching you stuff, dude, do it over and over, just like they said. And don't change it up. Just do it exactly the way they say, over and over and over and over. You got to do it till it's boring.
Yeah.
And once it's boring, you know, a lot of guys don't want to put in that type of work.
I'm still doing that boxing and head movement drill you taught me since time in Chiang Mai. Yeah,
working out.
Yeah. I see the benefit of it, the value of it. So, you know, yeah,
Nice.
I agree with you. That's really good advice. Okay, so overall, I wanted to ask you what you felt was your greatest achievement. Like most fighters, they're always gonna say something about, you know, winning maybe a championship or something like that. But you seem to have lived like quite a broad spectrum of things in your life. So what would you consider as your greatest achievement in your life?
I would say my greatest achievement was when I received my belt buckle as a hotshot firefighter.
Nice.
Which is I even still have it here, actually. I always carry it with me. But so yeah, I was not just a firefighter, but a wildland firefighter. And in our ranks, if you get to what they call the term a hotshot, you're basically like the equivalent of saying, like, okay, I'm a Navy SEAL or
special forces, you know, elite.
Like the special.
Right.
Yeah, you have to be a high level guy, and after 2 years of service, you received a belt buckle. I don't know if you guys can see it, but
yeah, I can see that.
And on that's our logo, which is the American River, which is the Tahoe National Forest, which is out in California.
Oh, nice.
And the fact they have the insignia of our number, which is with a member that you're going to go down in as the log. And the reason why it's probably like my most, like the accomplishment I love the most is because, man, one, I could say I did it. It's an extremely tough job, like the mental preparedness that you need for it. I look at fighting like it's like a sprint, and when this type of wildland firefighting, it's the biggest triathlon that you will ever do in your entire life. Like you're hiking hours, 2 hours into a fire, and then you begin work.
Then you begin
where you're
fighting,
cutting,
yeah.
you're moving dogs, and you're doing that for 14 hours, and then you go home and hike out. You do it for 6 months at a time. It really, really teaches you mental toughness. It teaches you mental will, and I think the lessons that I learned there, and I carried them over and applied them into my martial arts background, is what kind of led me to a lot of success. Wow. So I would say that, and the fact that I just survived.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah, it's incredible, because a fighter, you can predict, like fighting in a cage, you can predict the outcomes. You can kind of watch the previous fights and things like, get an idea. But fire is has to be the most unpredictable and chaotic force of nature.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's just another beast in itself when we're dealing with wildland. Because I'm sure a lot of people they'll ask, like, what is wildland fire? And I mean, I think it's only predominantly in the United States and places like Australia. But that style of firefighting, we're out in the woods, man. We're we don't have a lot of supplies, and most of the time we're not even using water to stop these fires. We're using dirt.
Right. It sounds like an unwinnable battle, in my opinion. Like like in most cases, you're just trying to survive, I would say.
Yeah, and it's just like, what was always amazed me about that job is, like, when you get 20 guys together and they have a single-minded goal, and these guys have been working together for a few months, to where, like, you just know how the next person next to you is going to work,
right,
what they're going to do.
Right.
And you kind of enter into like a flow state, and then you just look back at all the work you've done, and you've seen the miles of line that you just cut to cut off this fire. It's like, there's not, outside of fighting, there was no other type of gratifying feeling than that. You're out here with your boys trying to take nature.
Yeah. And it's amazing that you're saving lives, and you're saving property and wildlife as well. That's an amazing achievement. So thank you for that service, man. What's your outlook on this apocalypse, this COVID-19 coronavirus madness? And what do you think will the outcome be? I know you're a 10th planet guy, so you must have some funky, crazy out there conspiracy theories. Give us some of your thoughts.
Man, dude, to be honest, at the beginning of this, I didn't even know what to make of it. I think, like everybody, it's like you kind of want to say it's bullshit, but then you're scared at the same time, because you're seeing the photos, you're seeing the infections, you're seeing all this. So it's like, nobody really knows. I'm not a scientist. I don't really know any of that stuff. Right. But I understand how infections work, because being in the service, I used to be an EMT, and part of that, you have to understand how to wear PPE and how infections work, because if you do get infected, it nullifies you, and they won't pay for your stuff if you didn't do the proper procedures to protect yourself.
Oh, I see. And
just understanding how rates of infection, and it's as infectious as they say it is. I think everybody's already got it, to be fair. But just in
Right.
Because don't you remember? I remember I got sick I got real sick in, like, I want to say February, and then it was just gone, and then, like, I was okay. Like, I felt like I had, like, a high fever, had a little bit of a cough, and then it was gone. And I just think everybody already kind of got it, and they're just kind of trying to catch up on it. But as to what it is exactly, I really think that there is a virus. It is real. Mm-hmm. I think it's a weak virus, though. I think it only affects a certain demographic of people.
Okay.
But they're using that as an excuse, because I really think what it is that there's a global recession bubble that was coming. It was imminent, because in America it had already been like 12 years since the last one.
Yeah, trillions of dollars of debt, Federal Reserve.
Exactly, dude. And I just think that this coronavirus was the needle that popped the bubble.
Sure.
And I think people are just using this as an excuse to start to try and take away civil liberties, trying to get a bunch of stuff signed off that they're doing, putting in a bunch of 5G towers, which I think is strange here in the UK. I don't know if it makes you sick, but I am scared that they do use it to track you. Do you know how it works, man?
No idea, but I heard the theory is that they can give you COVID-19 through 5G. That's the conspiracy David Icke put through.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying that because the radiation or whatever
Sure,
it is
sure.
that
Who
emanates
knows? Who knows?
lowers the immune system.
Who knows?
Yeah, but
can't write this stuff, man.
yeah, but what's more scary is how quickly that stuff can track you. That's what's. I just wanted to look up and see what exactly it was going to do, and they're like saying, "Oh, well, you're going to be able to download a movie within seconds. You're going to be able to do this and do that. You're not going to have no glitches in like these like screen time meetings."
No, and that's
But the
not
scary
fun.
thing is that now I looked up. There's like 6 different like science like technologies that go into it. One of them will know exactly where you are at every moment. Like they can pinpoint where you are. Like if you're on a neighborhood, they'll know the exact alley, and like you'll be standing behind a trash can. They know. They'll know where
It's
where
easy,
everybody's
man.
at.
They
all
got
time.
us. They got us. We didn't ask any
that's-
questions.
That's how I see it. That's what's more scary to me
Okay.
is
Okay.
like, and then they also said that everything, all of your computers, your TVs, even your refrigerator are all going to be connected to this Wi-Fi system. So what's scary is like, everybody's tripping out that like on their data and not realizing how valuable your data that you're freely giving away is.
Yeah, yeah.
There's companies that are making billions of
Billions
dollars off
of
of selling
dollars,
your
yeah.
data to advertisers
Right,
on
right.
Facebook, on Instagram. Now think about it, if they can monitor every habit you do,
They know
Every-
everything. They know every single swipe, where your eyes are looking on the phone, on the computer. So
Yeah, and how
now
much
it's
time,
just a
too.
matter of connecting everything to the hive mind. So like everything's got like
Exactly.
AI now. So now it's just like they've tracked every single movement of yours. They know everything that's gonna come out of your mouth, every single post at what time. Even if you died, they would still be able to make a virtual version of you to keep posting, keep going, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, dude. And then I mean that's why I share memes. Like everybody calls me like a meme guy. But the AI system and all of those algorithms can't read memes. That's why they piss
Nice,
people off. That's
nice. Nice. I'll praise the meme god. All right, so
up?
what's next for your future? Like after this whole apocalypse has come to a standstill, what are you gonna do with your career? Because things have changed. The economy is gonna change.
I mean, I think for a lot of us in the fight game, the gym owners, the coaches, the fighters, it's like everybody's kind of up in the air. I mean, I'm hoping that Dana's Fight Island comes through. We all start fighting like
Hans Island,
some Mortal.
Enter the Dragon. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 2020.
Dude,
Nice.
I mean, like life is seriously becoming a movie. But I mean, really, at this point, I figured to myself like about a couple weeks in the lockdown is like shit, dude, I'm gonna have to get a real job again. That was my first time.
Everybody's turning to that.
Yeah.
That's a reality.
Yeah, I gotta-
But what is a real job now? Right? What is a real job now? That's a hard thing to
I'm
define.
I'm looking into getting back into the fire service first.
Good.
First.
That's good for you, man.
So found my old job that I had right before I left for Thailand. So apparently my old position opened. So that'd be sick if I could get that position again, because I already know the schedule.
Back on the
And
horse.
I have a jiu-jitsu gym there that's very good that I can go train
nice,
at.
nice.
But I mean, to be honest, man, I'm not trying to think too far ahead with all this, because
Right.
it seems like every day is just changing so
yeah.
much.
Okay.
And so what I'm doing is every day is just like, okay, I'm going to take this coronavirus and this pandemic, and I'm going to take this time to work on myself.
Right.
So I'm
Good.
just reading a lot of books, just shadow boxing a lot,
Yeah.
doing a lot of like aesthetics to stay in shape,
Yeah.
healing up injuries that I needed to heal up.
Mm-hmm. Going inside.
Yeah, going inside, man. Because then I thought about it. It's like, okay, you even got to think about like this coronavirus thing. It's like everybody says it comes from a bat. Even the American quarter now has a bat on it. It's like, what is going on? Like, what is the? So I looked at the symbology of what a bat means, and a bat is a symbol of rebirth.
Yeah.
And I think that's all going through together is a moment of rebirth of the human consciousness.
Right.
And when all this is done, hopefully just like a caterpillar changing into a butterfly. A lot of either you're gonna grow from this, or you're gonna be left behind.
Right.
And but like you doing all the online classes, we're trying to do this stuff here.
Sure.
We're any way forward.
Any way forward.
progression.
Right, right. So yeah, the in Taoist mythology, the bat is a very yin creature. So yin and yang spectrum is very like kind of dark and introverted. So yeah, I think you got that right. How can people connect and follow you? I know you just got a new YouTube channel. It's Javier Trujillo, correct? Trujillo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you guys want, you can follow me on there, dude. Like, I'm gonna be posting all of my fights. I have a bunch of interviews, technique videos. Soon I'll be doing just production just for those. Once
Fantastic.
we get done with all this stuff, and I have access to a gym and a decent camera. And then maybe just trying to do like talking head videos, and maybe a lot of people like you yourself and a few other people that I've trained want me to kind of talk about my visualization. Training and how
that would be very valuable.
So I think I wanted to do a couple of videos on that.
Cool.
But you can also find me on Instagram at javitrujillo.mma.
Okay.
And on Facebook page is just Javi Trujillo.
Awesome. I'll be putting all the links in the description below. And is there anyone you want to give a shout out to? Is there anything you want to leave with our viewers?
No, man. I would just like to say, yeah, thanks for having me on, dude. It was a pleasure catching up with you.
Talk,
and then, yeah, dude. I just hope we can all get out of this, dude. We can start training again.
Man. Yeah. In the future, man. Wherever the future holds, we'll be there.
Yeah. Exactly, right. Bro.
Okay. All right. So thanks for your time, Coach Javi. Much love.
Thank you, man.
Stay safe in the UK.
You too, bro.
And I'll have this edited up and posted up soon, and we'll get some more subscribers over to your channel. So
cool.
Take
Thanks,
care
man.
of yourself,
Thank you for the
brother.
help.
All right. Much love.
See you. Peace.